Hi Nachiket, can you hear me?
See me?
Hey,
Hi,
hi.
Seema. Can you see me? Should I go this? Let me go this way. How are you?
I'm
We've
superb.
got 48 degrees in Cape Town today. It is so very, very hot.
It's hot there. Yeah, I can see that the pinkish rose today.
Can you? Yeah, I'm pink. It's like the heat is unbelievable. How are you?
I'm superb. Fantastic. So, you are in your
Yeah,
garden,
and
how or what it is? Where are you?
it's a garden. Yeah, it's actually my son's garden. You can see it's very beautiful, the mountain.
Amazing. Wow. That's
Yeah, it's very beautiful.
private one.
With very dramatic weather. The weather is very dramatic here. You know, it's hot and it can get very windy because the ocean is about 2 kilometers away. Then you have this big channel of wind, and so it's like buckets of rain. Then it's hot. So yeah, but I love it. It's very dramatic. So enthusiasts, we would enjoy that.
Yes, any kind of excitement is great for us.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. Absolutely.
So let's see who all are there. Netra is there. Netra is,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Who else? We have Nachiket. You know Nachiket, right?
Oh, hello, Nachikit. How are you?
Author of 4 books in 4 weeks. I call him only that. Hi, Vaibhav.
I know, he's amazing. He's amazing. He's absolutely amazing. It took me 18 months to finish my last book because I did so much research and added history into it. But I really admire Nachikit. He was like a bomb, you know, one book after the other. Welcome, Nachikit. So nice to see you.
Hi, Sandeep.
Hi, Sandeep. Is Sandeep here as well? That's awesome.
Yeah, I remember Sandeep has attended few or almost all of my live sessions when I started long back. And it was a 21 days
Oh,
challenge.
wow.
And I think Sandeep, you were there for all 21 days, right?
Yeah. So he's called a raving fan.
Mhm. So, Sandeep,
You know, he would be.
if you have attended all those sessions and you haven't got your reward gift from me, then please do connect with me. Send me a reply, and I'll give you your reward for that. Then we have Nutan. Hi, Nutan. Good to see you here.
Oh, Nitin. Oh, lovely. Oh, wow. Such nice support. Hi, Nitin. How are you? That's exciting. I can't see too well because there's a bit of a glare. So, because there's just sun everywhere. So you can just chat to me.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, guys. So we will start now, and you know it is going to be very interesting topic today. So last time Sandeep is saying you are gift yourself. I'm happy with that. No, I want to give you something tangible, something really very special, and I have given it to others. I think I don't know how you missed it, so just remind me that. Okay, so guys, we have special guest today. Like last to last Saturday, we had Rose, and I told you that we will be taking these live talk shows for next I don't know how many weeks, but it is definitely going to be 10, more than 10, 15
A
weeks.
long time.
Lot
It's going
of
to take a
times.
time.
And
Yeah.
these are our efforts for you to give a Valentine's gift that your relationship will be much, much better this time and afterwards because of these
Yeah.
sessions.
Yeah.
And today is the episode 2 of this. Yes, last time what we did was just an introduction and to let you understand how your personality, how your emotional needs are making or breaking your relationship. So that was just a plot we built, and today we are actually going to take different combination of personalities and what mess it creates in a relationship. And nothing other than Rose can do that so well because she has studied it deeply. So over to you, Rose.
Thank you, Seema. I feel very honored that you have welcomed me, and thank you. I can sit in the garden on this very, very hot day. So Seema came up with the idea that we would look at the type 1 and the type 7 in a relationship. So that is very, very interesting. So if these two are in a good state, then their relationship is very complementary and very
Yeah,
reciprocal,
just one second.
because they can,
I'll interrupt you. There are few new
yes,
people, or after this live show, also recording. Some people are going to watch. So for them, I'm just I'm just connecting the dots. When Rose says
yes,
type one, it is reformer or a perfectionist type. So all the personalities, all our behaviors we are putting into life coaching industry, we put it into different based on their traits. There are different nine different personalities we have studied. So you must be falling
yes,
in any one of that. And nine videos
yes,
I have already posted on Instagram, YouTube, and other platforms as well. So last time we had given you an assignment that watch those nine videos and decide which personality type you resonate the most. And once you have done that, you can tag yourself, I'm this. So today we are taking these nines are Rose. Why don't you throw light on these nine names so that they will have an idea what we are
yes,
talking about?
yes. So it's what it's based on. So initially, when these type, well, number one, I want to say this is a great typology to follow because it works inwardly. And when we work inwardly, we then become self-aware of all the good, all the warts and all. So the things we don't like about ourselves and the things we like about ourselves. So these patterns are given a number. So they go from 1 to 9, which enables it to be neutral. So it doesn't matter, because if you're 1, it's low in the ranking, or if you're number 9, you are high in the ranking. It's just to give it a neutral feeling, because each and every one of us, and as just to add on to what Seema was saying, each and every one of us, so imagine this. So most people think that we all think alike. They think that we see the world the same. They think that we have the same perceptions. We think that our way is right. Why can't they see that our way is right, that we have the same values? We have the same perceptions. So guess what? We have the same way of communication, and we all have the same way of resolving conflict. But guess what? There are 9 ways, and that can go deeper into 27 types, which we won't get into. So we all have, say, 9 different perspectives of the world, 9 different ways of resolving conflict, 9 different sense of communicating, 9 different ways of doing things, 9 different ways of conflict resolution, and 9 different ways of perceiving the world. So not one of them is right and not one of it is wrong. And I would like you to look at that as looking at the diversity of personalities in the world, because each and every one plays an integral role. And not to go too deep, but we kind of dip in and out of different types depending on whether we're stressed or angry or happy, we will dip in. But this, what we're talking about now, is the dominant type that we developed since a child. And that taught us to thrive in the world. We could thrive. This is how we survived in the world, by either withdrawing or being outrageous or being a perfectionist and doing everything correctly, or being highly individualistic or questioning or hiding ourselves in books. And this is how we survived from babyhood to adulthood. So some of us in recent years have only become aware of this, and it's really quite incredible to see the differences. So I hope that introduction's okay. So would you like me to talk about the numbers, or like the reformer and the
I
enthusiast?
think
How would you like to do it?
I think we should go with names, not the numbers, because numbers will give
Okay.
them a very different
Yeah.
feeling.
Very different. So, Seema, I watched your videos and they were really awesome. So if you don't mind just giving like 5 points on each, how do you know a reformer? Just to give people an idea of what a reformer is, and then just even 4 tips and then 4 behaviors when you know that helps you define
Definitely, it's
whether
a
you are an enthusiast or not.
it's a great pleasure and honor to me to talk about reformer because my partner is a reformer and I can talk endlessly about it. So these are the traits of a reformer. A reformer is also called as perfectionist. Number one, they think, no, they don't think. They know that they are always right. So we call them as their first name is always and their second name is right. So they always believe that they are right. There is no other perspective. Second, they have very high standards of ethics and morality. Yes, they always talk about right and wrong in their life. Number three, they
Mm.
are very analytical, they are very organized, systematic, and structured. And number four, they're perfectionists. They always crave for perfection. And that perfection becomes a problem sometimes because Rose will definitely resonate with this. Key
Yeah, yeah,
perfectionist is
yeah.
just myth, and they always see life is all about imperfection. And I strongly believe that these imperfections make our life beautiful. Nature, that imperfection in nature makes it perfect, but these guys are looking for perfection, and then the friction starts because they're very hard on themselves. They're very tough with themselves because always right and wrong, always perfection, that causes a lot of trouble in their relationship sometimes. So it is not only with the reformer, any personality type you take, whatever your strength is, that becomes your weakness as well. So enthusiast
Yeah.
is a personality type who is always excited, full of life, happy-go-lucky. But with this, you cannot live everything like that, right? You have to calm down somewhere. You have to have a systematic approach somewhere. So that becomes a problem for enthusiasts always. So for every
Yeah.
personality, there are some goods, and those goods become sometimes they damage them. And today we are talking about combination of these two in a marriage, enthusiast and
Yeah.
reformer. So I'm going to love this.
So I think what you are saying there, Seema, is so true. So your essential positive quality, like with the reformer, where everything is done perfectly, that is the thing that trips them up. And with the enthusiast, where the world is wonderful and it's great, and they can see good in bad and turn anything that other people would be so depressed with into a positive. And so that also trips them up because then they can also appear to be very fickle and shallow. So I'll just say that the your perfectionist, they are highly self-critical, and what they tend to do is, because they're so focused on perfectionism, they are terrified of making mistakes, and that can lead to procrastination. So often, if you ask a perfectionist to do something or write a report, they'll take a long time because they go over it again and again and again, checking and checking and checking, because subconsciously they cannot deal with the fact that they have made an error. So they have to learn that it's okay to relax, to have fun, to make an error. It's really okay. And then the enthusiasm, and they're also driven by anger, so they suppress their anger and resentment because they resent people subconsciously who are not as that do not fit up to their standard. They resent it, and they suppress their anger and they suppress it, and one day they explode. And then what you have with the enthusiasts, they have a fear of pain. They avoid pain. They can be financially broke. They can be on the verge of suicide. They can have a bad relationship. But nobody will ever guess that because they avoid that. So what will they do? So their fear, they avoid pain at all costs. They seek pleasure. So when they deny pain. It's like an ostrich sticking their head in the sand and saying everything's going to be okay, everything's going to be okay. So they become a glutton. They'll go on a shopping spree. They will eat and eat and eat. They can become addicts. They might drink alcohol, eat too many chocolates, too many cake, just to make sure that they're feeding that pain. So they avoid pain. So at some stage in their life, they have to admit to their shortcomings, like, I don't budget, I have no money, my relationship is bad, I hate my job. But you will never ever guess that with the enthusiasts, because they are the ones, they are the joy of this group, where they inspire and motivate people. Okay, so let's have a look. So a good state is when your actions and your behaviors are congruent. That's what a state is. A state is not a feeling. It doesn't mean, okay, I'll go to a symphony concert, I'll sit in nature, I'll have a beautiful cup of tea, I'll go to the seaside, I'll listen to the birds singing. That you feel good. That is a great feeling. or if you achieve an award, you feel good, but tomorrow you're going to be down again. So a state is where your intellect and your actions are congruent. So what you think and what you do is together, and that improves your state. And a state will have an effect on your behavior, on your decisions, and on your actions. So understanding who we are really helps. So as I said earlier, so the reformer and the enthusiast together in a good state, they're complementary, they're reciprocal, they bring something needed to each part, and they help each other achieve and grow. Or alternatively, they can drive each other further apart, where they play on each other's weaknesses. And this can be in a bad state, and it's normally subconscious that you're not aware that you're doing it, because the reformer is thinking, what is wrong with this person? I've shown them 10 times, my wife or my spouse, 10 times how to do this. And they can't get it right. Why don't they just listen to me? Because I know the right way. I'm always right. And then they start putting structure in. And
I think there is a network issue from her end. So guys, if you have
yeah, so that's then how.
if you have questions, you can keep typing there, or anything you want to share. If you are in agreement, disagreement, you can just keep typing there. So it will be a two-way communication. Yeah, Rose, we can hear you now.
Are there any comments from anyone?
No, I don't see, but I'm just telling them, if you have any comments, please don't hesitate.
Yes,
You
exactly.
have Balaji,
So what is
okay.
So what a reformer brings to a relationship with is conscientiousness. It's orderliness. It's good work habit, methodical attention to detail, pleasure in bringing and maintaining high standards. So that's what a reformer brings, and that would fill a gap, a beautiful gap for your enthusiasts. Because what does enthusiasts do? They will wake up and say, come on, we haven't planned this, we're going on a journey, or we're going to do this, or I've decided we're going to go on a picnic or whatever. And then this can throw, but initially the reformer loves it because they like to plan ahead. What the enthusiast brings is high energy. They steer the relationship to fun and adventure, and they just want to try new things all the time. They're never tired of trying new food, new experiences, new destinations, new people, new whatever. They love it. They avoid being bored. They cannot be bored. And, they're not hung up on everything being done perfectly. So there they bring a nice balance together for both of them. And seeing that you're married to a reformer, does that resonate with you in a good state?
Yes, absolutely. I totally resonate with what you were saying in a good state. And we recently had this incident. I would love to share that. It was very hilarious incidents. So he was talking about something, everything needs a structure. He said that. I was talking about my work, and enthusiasts, they don't like structure, right? I told him, I just need a outcome. If you tell me step one, step two, step three, my brain stops functioning. So don't tell me that. He says, no, but still, you're right. I understand that. You're right. But still, structure makes you more productive. It makes you work smooth. And then when somebody is talking about structure, enthusiast starts feeling that he's caged. My wings are cut now. I cannot fly. And I told him, for me, structure is like going upwards, stepwise method, staircase. When I have wings,
Yeah.
I go with staircase. So it is, for me, it is like, if there is a structure for doing something, you're actually reducing your productivity, because I have wings, and enthusiasts are like jumping, popping, and all that, right? So that was hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is, and they can't understand it, because structure's so good, being methodical, conscientious, planning. However, there is a similarity between the two, because both the reformer and the enthusiast, they're idealistic. They're both future thinking and visionary.
Yeah.
So that is also a good thing because they're both visionary. A reformer can also, although they're very focused on detail, they can see the big picture in a way. So the enthusiast is totally future orientated. They see the big picture and then they work towards it, where the reformer will take all the little steps towards the big picture, but the enthusiast will work backwards. So there, I'm going to climb that mountain and then decide how. But the enthusiast will put a massive plan in. But both idealistic, both future planners, which is really good. So that's the two. But what is the your reformer wants to be methodical. So they help stabilize the enthusiast and they help them stay on track, because what enthusiasts do, they will stop a project and start another one, and then they'll see something else that's even more interesting, and then they'll do that. So that will drive an enthusiast crazy, a reformer crazy, because you're going away from the structure, you're going away from what's right, and you're going away from things, and then you're going to make mistakes, and then it's going to be your fault because you're not sticking to the plan. Because enthusiasts become very distracted. So in that way, a reformer is very good for them. So if you are a reformer with enthusiast and you want to give them a plan, don't give them one plan. Give them a lot of choices so that the enthusiast feels, okay, I can choose. I'll do it this way or I'll do it that way. And that will save a lot of conflict within a relationship, whereas a perfectionist is, the reformer is very rigid, and that is the structure and that is the right way. So the reformer has to understand that the enthusiast needs it to be loose and flowing. So the enthusiast, you can give them a broad boundary that they can work within, but don't put them in a cage, because they're going to rebel and they're going to become passive aggressive, and then you can have issues as far as that is concerned. So
Brilliant,
the
Rose.
reformer
That's a
give
brilliant
you,
point.
what was that, Seema?
That's a brilliant point, I said. For enthusiasts, if you tell them don't do this or do this, then you are gone, because then you are triggering their rebel side.
Yeah,
If you want to
exactly,
present something,
exactly.
give them lot of choices, and all the choices are in your favor.
Yes, and give them the boundaries so that you can work loosely. You can't. There is no tight fit. Otherwise, an enthusiast feels suffocated, and then they lose interest. They become passive aggressive and they become rebellious, and they might not do it. So you have to observe your spouse and see what really works for them, and it can work in both favor. So those are just a few little tips there. So what is the enthusiast offer one? Oh, come on now, who doesn't want a sense of excitement in life? Life is exciting in your love life, your food, your travel, everything's exciting. It's never ever the same with an enthusiast. You can have a French maid, you can have a headmistress as a lover, they can change things in that way, which can make it very exciting. And just share enjoyment, like the joy of living and the joy of life. And they have this life force of excitement and pleasure, and they want you to enjoy that with them. So, what does a one offer a seven? So they offer you a sense of purpose. So together you have that sense of purpose. They offer you idealism, and they direct you into a life that is noble and a life that is meaningful. So they will give you, instead of the seven, they have names for. So a seven is like a butterfly. They go from one flower to the next, pollinating. But then a one, your reformer, can bring you in to a nobler purpose. So you don't have to pollinate every single flower in the garden of life. If I think that's quite a nice metaphor to have. And then the ones, the sevens, they keep spirits up. They're very refreshing. They're creative. They have great ideas. And they also prevent things from becoming too heavy, because sometimes a reformer can be very intense, and they're so hung up on detail and the right way of doing things, and then they become critical, and then things become heavy. So your enthusiast spouse can actually switch that and bring in the lighter side. So that's also a very, very nice balance within that relationships. So the other thing that the reformer will help the enthusiast is to work systematically. Otherwise, they're flitting from one flower to the next. So let's go through the daisies, then we'll go through the daffodils, then we'll go through the hibiscus. So work systematically and consistently towards your goals. Seema, do you have any comment on that?
No, that's a valid point from reformer, how reformer can help in a relationship to an enthusiast. And looking at that, I feel that they are totally complementary to each other. Only thing is that they
They
need to
are.
be in their good states.
Yeah.
So it's a perfect
And
couple, I
what
would say, in good state.
it is, because because let's face it, enthusiasts can be all over the place. So what your reformer brings to the enthusiast, reliability, and that's very big. You can rely on that person. You know that they'll take action. You know that they'll do the job. You know that it'll do it well. So if you have a reformer, says the husband, for example, he will make sure that you never have to put in a light bulb. You will never have a picture frame hanging askew. There will never be a screw loose. Everything will work. The curtain rail will be perfect. Everything it's just so easy. When you don't have a reform in your life, then you realize what you're actually missing, because now you've got to hire someone to do that. And that can cost money. And that reliable, are you laughing, Seema? Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And they work on all the details, and then you work on the fun time. So, so really, and also, an enthusiast, they have the big picture, and they love it when the reformer spouse can work on all the details. So you do the details, so for example, if you go on a long car trip, they'll put in the mileage, when they changed oil in the car, how much petrol, how many kilometers per hour. And already the enthusiast is totally bored with all of this, but the reformer keeps track on all of that, so, which is also very, very important, but can be very boring facts for the enthusiast. So, yeah.
No wonder.
And tell me if you're
my husband.
So the reformer, if you pack the boot of the car, he can put anything in that no other type can fit so much into the boot so neatly and so perfectly.
Absolutely. Guys, you have any questions, please keep commenting here.
Yeah.
We want to know whether you are enjoying this and is it helping you. That is very important. This show is
they're very quiet,
you guys. So we have Shailesh, I guess, from username we can't make it out, but I think it is Shail 777. You have any questions, comments, how this conversation is going on? Sharvar is enjoying a lot, I know. And Sharvari, any special comments? You want to say something? Have you figured out, Sharvari, who you are, who your husband is by the personality type? And who else we have? Porch Coach, Mechanics Graph. And guys, please write something so that we will know how to move forward. And we have SK Traders. Yes. NRI Sony. Guys, keep commenting. Your comments will help us.
Yeah. Yes. So if you look at the reformer and the enthusiast, they are highly supportive of each other, number one, like in a good state, as long as the ultimate outcome is congruent. So if they both have the same ultimate outcome, is they're going to be very supportive of each other. So the problem comes when each one wants their own outcome or their own goal. It's a very for both of them, because they stretch each other And an enthusiast loves to be stretched, and so does a reformer. And they're also fascinated by each other's differences, you know, so that's how they do it. It's amazing that we're so different, and I'm so glad he takes or she takes care of all the details, and she's so crazy or he's so crazy. I never know what the next surprise is going to be, you know, so so from that point of view, it is a great fit. But the potential trouble spots now is really when your stress levels are increased, okay, the one becomes highly critical, and they become very judgmental, and they become inflexible, and they insist that things have to be done their way, and their way is a right way. So when a reformer is in this state, they will then look at the 7, because now remember, they're inflexible, they're judgmental, they're critical. So if you've ever experienced that, it is going to kill an enthusiast. And then the one will look at the enthusiast and say, they're so undisciplined. They've got no discipline. They do this and they do that, and they can't finish this, spending too much money, eating too many chocolates. Now she's got another pair of shoes. She's wasteful. They can also see an enthusiast as inefficient, because the one is plodding away on their spreadsheet. They've got everything documented, everything detailed, and they're just, so what enthusiasts do, I don't know if you do this, Sina, but enthusiasts often walk around with all the information in their head, and they don't always write it down. They don't always maybe keep a spreadsheet, but they can tell you exactly what they're doing. They can give you the detail of everything they're doing, but they're just not writing it down because it's in their head, because they come from the tribe that are the thinkers, you know, so everything happens in their head. So it's all there. So that's what they do. I don't know if you have experienced that, Seema.
Yes.
I know by your job you have to write it, but generally the enthusiast,
No, I
all
don't
your
write.
ideas are in your head.
See, my brain stops functioning when it becomes too much steps and structure. I can survive only for 2
Yeah,
to 3 steps. After that, I don't see anything.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, so then also, you know, the reformer would look at you, so you undisciplined, you inefficient,
Crazy.
you're self-centered, because now you're focusing on yourself. Yeah. They think you're childish because you're full of fun and spontaneous, and then they grow up, you know. They also feel that your enthusiasm can be scattered, you know, all over the place, which in below average state they are scattered. They also feel that they fool around too much and they're not serious about life, and they need to take life seriously. And also what they also look at, what the reformer does is they look at the enthusiast and say they're spending too much, and as an individual they overextend themselves. And enthusiasts do that. Yeah, I'll do this, I'll do that, because they're loving the variety, they're loving the relief from boredom. But what they do is they overbook themselves, and then they overextend themselves, and they promise too much, just because for the passion and the fun and the experience. So they don't think that one through very well all the time. So that's what an enthusiast sees when they look at a 7. And then, you know, they also feel that the 7s are unfocused. They, you know, they're scattered. And the 7, the reformer will think that the enthusiast is out to annoy them, that they're annoying them on purpose, and they're trying to get back at them. And the reformer thinks that the one is passive aggressive, and so they're not hostile and they're not petty, but you know, this is what the reformer is feeling when they're observing the one. You know, now when we're stressed, and the stress is on the relationship. So the 7s, when the enthusiasts, when they look at the reformer, they will look at them as being prissy, they're petty, they're picking, they're perfectionist, and they need a kick in the pants so that they can just loosen themselves up. And then, what's your issue and what are you so uptight about? Just relax. And that will then drive the perfectionist even more crazy, or the reformer crazy. So if if you look at a conflict between a reformer and an enthusiast, it's normally around finance, because and Seema's smiling there, because the reformer will keep track of every cent, what you can spend, what you can't spend. If the enthusiast decides one day, oh my word, like buy 3 dresses, get 2 free, they'll go crazy, or they'll go to a spa, or they'll just buy stuff to make themselves feel better because they are avoiding pain. So you need to look at that, and you need to help your spouse like find out what the pain is, and to face your fears. And that is not easy, because enthusiasts spend their lives avoiding pain, and they live in fear. That is their big thing. They do not want pain in any form, and they will not admit when they're in pain. So then they'll go spending. So the finance is there, and then the one will say, well, the 7 is very wasteful. What do you need 5 dresses for? But they were on sale. So what an enthusiast will do is maybe buy stuff and hide it in the cupboard, and maybe put it on a week later, and then the reformer will say, gee, is that a new dress? Oh, don't be silly, this old thing, I've had it for ages. Well, you've had it, hidden it in the cupboard for 2 weeks, so just to make yourself feel better that you are actually not wasteful. And then they also, and then again, then the ones will feel like the enthusiast will feel that the reformer is tight-fisted, they mean, they're like a Mr. Scrooge, and they don't want to spend money. And then the enthusiast will say, we'll spend money, we've got to enjoy life, who knows where we're going to be tomorrow, what are you saving it all for? So these are all in a bad state. So now they don't have that thing. And then eventually the 7 gets tired of the criticism. They get tired with the reformer being discontented with them, being dissatisfied with them. And now what happens is the enthusiast is going to resist being trapped in a relationship like this. So what they do is they don't want to be in that situation, not at all. They don't want continual unhappiness, criticism, humiliation, telling them how to do things properly. So clipping their wings, as it were, they start suffocating. And then the situation deteriorates, because an enthusiast doesn't want continual unhappiness. And then what they do is then the enthusiast becomes pushy, because they want a better reaction out of the reformer. They become demanding. And then the ones with the reformer withdraws, they become disillusioned, and then they become depressed, and this and then they withdraw the emotional connection, and the enthusiast needs to be emotionally connected, and they withdraw emotionally from the 7s. So then what happens is, on both sides you have disdain, you have contempt of each other. That Scrooge, that wasteful person, she's childish, he's mean, and so you go. And eventually, very often, reconciliation is sometimes really impossible between the 2 of them, and really difficult, because the enthusiast has got no love and admiration, and no partner to have fun with and enjoy life. And while on the other side, the reformer thinks you're childish, and they criticize you a lot, and that destroys the love that was so powerful at one stage. And then, they criticize, and they'll criticize the enthusiast for a while, and silently give them the blame, for different events in their life, sort of criticize them, making the enthusiast feel that it was actually their fault and they are to blame. And then eventually that will spell, the final blow, the fatal blow for the relationship. And very often, when that relationship gets to the reformer being critical and disillusioned, and trying to trap, and was sort of emotionally withdrawn, very often that can first lead to emotional abuse, because when you emotionally withdraw from a partner, that is emotional abuse. Then you get the verbal abuse, and then that can be physical. So you can get physical abuse. And ultimately, if it's really bad, it can result in, a crime of passion. So that is the two. So it really, in a good state, it is an amazing relationship because they feed off each other's strengths, and both of which are really amazing. So
Absolutely
I would love comment.
complementary. Absolutely complementary to each other. So yeah, I know
Yeah,
when they are in that constructive phase, if they create something that is going to be the best version of anything they create together.
yeah,
So
yeah, and they're great when people meet them. They just think, this is like such an amazing couple because you this great idealism. You've got fun, you've got
hmm,
adventure, you've got spontaneity, but you've also done within an incredible framework, and you kind of feed off each other, and it is a beautiful harmony that they bring to the relationship in a good state. So I don't know if there's any comments, but that's really what I have to say about the ones and the enthusiasts. And it's interesting, Seema, that you chose this because this for you is a real live thing, And Seema, can I ask you a question? So if you had maybe challenges in your relationships, which everybody does at times, are there some of the points that you could relate to? You don't have to select any.
yeah,
I would just
definitely,
be
definitely
interested.
there are many points where I can relate. Only one thing is different, that finances, like yeah, I do other things to avoid my pain. It's not finances. So I think some
Yeah.
small variety is possible even if you are an enthusiast or a reformer. Maybe you're nurturing and you are good at that, or you have your childhood conditioning is that way. So for me, it is like
Yeah.
yeah, I have that tendency to overspend sometimes, but still it is not that scary picture. I take care of it, like I'm
Yeah.
investing somewhere with proper returns and all that, so it is not overspent
Sure.
at that
Of
time.
course.
So that's I'm really happy when you were sharing. I felt that go at least that one good thing I'm doing, which is not there inherent in my personality. So yes,
Yes.
definitely. But I totally agree with that. And you have shown us the picture, like when they are in the best state, when their state of mind is very high, they're happy together, how their journey is, how their coordination and the wavelength with each other is, how that chemistry is. And then you slowly took us through that roller coaster ride, coming from top to bottom, and what happens when both of them or
Mm.
one of them is in the lowest state or lower states, and then the friction starts coming, that gearing is gone now. So the
Exactly.
key factor of this is, see, basically guys, any of your personality type, it can be anything. If you are in your best states, if you are in your high states, like Rose just said in the beginning, your high state is what you're thinking, feeling, and what you're doing, they are in complete congruence with each other. There is nothing,
Yeah.
it is not that you're thinking something else and you're doing something else. So that is your state, highest state
Exactly.
of mind, and that is the best state of mind. And when you are in that, doesn't matter which personality type you are and your partner is, you will do great. But the mess happens when state of mind goes down, when you don't feel good about yourself.
Exactly.
And when you don't feel good about yourself, you can't feel good about anyone else in life. We have few more people
And
joining, new people, I guess. Let's speak to them. BHK
yes.
Saurabh. Hi Saurabh. If you have any comments, please mention them here. We will take it here. George Matthew. George, your comments. Ajit, George, yeah. Asha, Ali Akbar. Please write your comments here. Bharti Sharma. Hey, hi Bharti Sharma. We have one invitation to be on a uh, live video, but it is gone. I would have invited that person. Sharvari is saying she is reformer and her husband is peacemaker. Sharvari, stay tuned because upcoming sessions we are taking different combination. So your turn will also come. Make sure you and your husband do a home assignment, that watching those videos of peacemaker and reformer both together, and then join this session, both of you, live show when we have this combination. We will plan
Yeah, the
this.
reformer and peacemaker is very interesting as well. It's
Oh,
a very
really?
interesting combination.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Guys, any questions you have, or I think it's time to end. Rose, what do you think?
I think so. And yeah, so I think we'll stick with the reformer and then just go through.
Yeah.
So we've done reformer and enthusiast, and then maybe for the lady, I don't know what her name is, we can do reformer and peacemaker next week.
Yes, yes, we'll do for her. So, Sharvari, this is for you. Next to next Saturday. I hope it is not. It is a Valentine's Day or was something. It can be. So very close to
Yeah.
Valentine's Day. So that will be our gift to both of you on Valentine's Day. I'm sure, guys, you must have noted few points so that you can bring in great harmony in your relationship with this talk show. If you know that you are a one of you is enthusiast and the other one is reform.
And I think it's also, the importance of this is also to be not only aware of who you are in your different states, but also to notice the states in your partner and then adjust your style to try and bring them up to a better state.
Yeah, that's a beautiful point. At least we can do that.
If you're an enthusiast and your partner's a reformer, and so just become more structured and kind of give them what they want, and then they'll feel better and secure, as if they contribute to. And if you're a reformer and you're becoming too rigid, then just become loose and more and flow so that your enthusiast can breathe and feel free.
So sweet. These words are beautiful. You know, when I see my husband going in lower states, I immediately start cleaning the mess in the house. That is my first reaction to it. First of all, I have to maintain everything
Yeah.
at home.
Yes. So are we getting any comments?
No comments so
No
far.
comments. Okay.
Okay, we will see after this show if people are watching. Then they will put comments here, and we'll take them forward next week, next to next week, and with new pair, new couple, reformer and peacemaker. And the next week it will be
Yeah.
reformer plus somebody else. So reformers, those are here. They can decide which partner to select if you are single now.